Good morning, Ram Ram. Going to Fort McHenry. Fort है यहाँ पे पास में ही. So just going there, and it's a national park. So just going to check it out first time. This is near inside actually Baltimore County, and it's very close to Baltimore Harbor. It's fort on the ocean, on Atlantic Ocean side, and this fort was very much used in during war of 1812. और 1812 का वार था जब ब्रिटिश ने वाशिंगटन डीसी कैपिटल नई बनी थी और उसको जला दिया था.
In 2 miles, take exit 5B for I-95 north toward Baltimore.
And after that they were ready to capture Baltimore City, which was the biggest city on East Coast side at the time in this area, because Washington DC was very new and Baltimore was the big town near this area. So they were capturing that, but they were not able to because of Fort McHenry garrison. So this is how it looks outside. It's cloudy, but it's warm and temperature is perfect. It's not very hot and it's not cold for sure. And we are going towards Baltimore north on 95, not south. South is Washington DC. So it's near Baltimore in the harbor area. And this is where the American national anthem was written as a poem by a lawyer, and it was written during this war time. There's a visitor for the Fort McHenry. There's a visitor coming from Fort McHenry, and here we are going. And these two visitors walking, crossing, and now flying. Smart. Sign. Then stop.
That's it?
That's it. I think straight is Similana. This is Fort McHenry National Monument and Historic Shrine. And we stop here and then we go in. And these are the visitors or the residents. Now find the parking.
In 600 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
ये है विजिटर सेंटर शायद. लेट्स सी. फ्लावर लगे हुए हैं और इसकी फेंस हो रखी है. ये बिल्कुल बाल्टीमोर के पास में है. ये इधर बाल्टीमोर हार्बर है, शिप खड़े हैं और समुंदर के किनारे है. ये शायद क्या है, विजिटर सेंटर होगा. ये कौन है? ये महाशय कौन है? चलो आके देखेंगे इसको। Visitor and Education Center.
And across the high seas to draw off U.S. forces from Canada and damage America's economy and morale, the British Navy attacked and blockaded the nation's east coast heartland. Up and down the Chesapeake Bay they raided, destroying towns and farms and spreading fear. August 1814, disaster. The invading British seized Washington, D.C. and burned the nation's capital. A citizen soldier of Baltimore spoke for many.
Every American heart is bursting with shame and indignation for the catastrophe.
And Baltimore hearts were also full of anxiety, for they feared they would be next.
Admiral Coleman has declared that he will burn this nest of pirates. If you can, flee the city, take your valuables.
As Baltimore braced itself, a young Maryland lawyer, Francis Scott Key, embarked on a diplomatic mission to free a prisoner of war, sailing right into the heart of the approaching British fleet. But with their attack on Baltimore imminent, the British detained Key amidst their massing warships. On the outskirts of Baltimore, citizens, men and women, militia, and regular troops desperately prepared defenses. They dug almost a mile of earthen trenching and waited with bated breath. On September 12th, British soldiers landed at North Point, where a bloody battle with Maryland militia failed to halt their march towards Baltimore. However, the British could not tackle the city's earthwork defenses and troop reinforcements without their navy's help. The next day, the British bomb ships would open up their main assault with a ferocious bombardment. Their target, Fort McHenry. They had to knock out the fort to bring their ships in range of the city. The fate of Baltimore now lay in the hands of the fort's defenders. Soldiers frantically prepared for battle, knowing they were the last defense to thwart the British. With the enemy in their sights, the men awaited the inevitable, a bombardment from the world's most formidable navy. Then the attack began. The British fleet pounded the fort with rockets and mortar shells. But still, the British bombs and rockets thundered over the fort, exploding deadly shrapnel in all directions. The fort's defenders were, in the words of one citizen soldier, like pigeons tied by the legs to be shot at. The American artillery answered the British with desperate return fire. But would it be enough? Baltimore's citizens watched in panic through the night. One recalled,
"The attack on Fort McHenry was distinctly seen from Fenton Hill and from the tops of houses which were covered with men, women, and children."
September 14th, the British guns finally fell silent. A huge flag was raised above the fort, but whose? Through the long night, Francis Scott Key had been forced to watch the bombardment from among the enemy fleet.
Not at all.
Nothing.
Now, he strained to see the flag in the dawn's early light.
It's ours, Mr. Skinner.
Say, we won.
It's ours.
Inspired by their courage, Key wrote down a few lines. "'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." As the British withdrew, Key returned to Baltimore, where his words soon found music and a publisher, and the Star-Spangled Banner was born. It captured a defiant, patriotic spirit and spread rapidly across the nation, pouring new life into the national flag as a symbol of American identity. The popularity of the song and the flag grew during the years that followed. The Star-Spangled Banner eventually became the official anthem of the United States in 1931. Inspired by the brave defense of Fort McHenry, Francis Scott Key's words and the flag they so memorably portray are now woven into our sense of national identity. These words still resonate as loudly today as the glaring rockets and bursting bombs of 1814.
All right, now, folks, can you see the brick quarters in the ground here? Mm-hmm. This is the location of where the hospital was during the War of 1812. And you heard in the movie that there were about 1,000 American defenders here during that 25-hour bombardment. And they basically had nothing overhead to shelter them. During that bombardment, there were 4 Americans killed in action. 24 were wounded, and this is where they would have been brought. Now, during World War I want you to contrast this hospital. During World War I, the U.S. Army built a temporary hospital here at Fort McHenry, and it was simply called U.S. Army General Hospital No. 2. It was here from 1917 to 1923, right? And I want you to try to envision in your mind almost every square foot of the greenery, from the front gate down to the water, over to the other side of the fort, covered by buildings for this hospital. They treated about 27,000 American doughboy soldiers and Marines who came off the battlefields of France and Belgium and brought them here. They brought them here. In fact, everybody, you see the right-hand wall of the visitor center there? You see that sort of like a orange-colored building beyond it on the right there? Mm-hmm. That is the last building of the U.S. Army General Hospital No. 2. It was taken down from 1923 to 19...
welcome to Fort McHenry National Monument and Historic Shrine, birthplace of the national anthem. So that first piece of music you heard, one, drummer's call. That was a signal, that was a call. And if you notice, lots of folks started coming in at that time, and it did what it was supposed to do, right? This is a garrison in 1814, the American Civil War, World War I, World War II.
ओ देखिए ये बंकर है और यहाँ पे सबने हाँ ये यहाँ पे कैनल लगी होंगी पुराने टाइम में घूमने वाली सो दैट दे कैन मूव और ये बंकर है नीचे हाँ वो वाले रियल कैनल जो अभी लगी हुई हैं बंकर और ये बंकर है नीचे ये है आर्मरी जहाँ पे कि ये स्पेशल बिल्डिंग है मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट बिल्डिंग ऑफ दिस फोर्ट इसमें डबल गेट हैं और अंदर इसमें देखो कितनी बड़ी इसकी वॉल हैं ये इतनी बड़ी वॉल हैं और बहुत छोटी सी यूनिट है इसके अंदर सारा गन पाउडर और सारा एम्यूनेशन स्टोर हो रखा है तो इसमें बड़ी वॉल हैं और ऊपर शायद 20 फीट के ऊपर 20 से 20-25 फीट की छत है और जिससे कि गोलों का इसमें फ़र्क ना पड़े क्योंकि इसमें आर्म्स एम्यूनेशन स्टोर है और ये हैं रेजिडेंशियल क्वार्टर्स इसमें 2 मंजिल के ये रेजिडेंशियल क्वार्टर हैं जहाँ पे ऑफिसर्स और जो सोल्जर्स रहते हैं और ये फोर्ट का गेट है इधर से फोर्ट मैकेनरी ये इस तरह की गन थी उस टाइम यहाँ पे तो ये घूम भी सकती हैं निशाना मारने के लिए और ऊपर नीचे भी जा सकती हैं और यहाँ की गन तो हट गई है और वो उधर भी गन आगे रखी है और यहाँ तो बहुत सारी हैं इधर This is Baltimore Harbor. This is Baltimore Port. And that's the Key Bridge. Okay भाई ये हो गया फोर्ट मैकेनरी की टूर पूरा और अब ये ट्रेल इधर से इसके लूप में है ख़त्म हो रही है और ये पीछे फोर्ट है और ये इधर ओशन है पीछे ये बाल्टीमोर हार्बर का एरिया है अटलांटिक ओशन तो अब चलते हैं वापस पार्किंग की तरफ और फिर यहाँ से घर तो okay till the next video all right bye bye take care have a nice time